Oh, no, come on, not like this, nope. Please, nope, let it not be so. Please let my assumptions on this be way off. Okay, so those who've been following video games industry news will know about the unfortunate trend of taking these beloved video game franchises and classics and reducing them to awful mobile releases. This is something that major game publishers do because making mobile games is far less costly than creating a AAA project, and not to mention they generate far more revenue due to the fact that mobile devices are everywhere now with a user base of hundreds of millions who are ripe for nickel and diming. There is very little creative drive usually behind these mobile experiences beyond designing a highly monetizable gameplay loop. Whatever hints of gameplay brilliance could come out of some of these mobile games are often buried under design decisions that were purely driven by corporate financial agendas. Unfortunately, based on a recent report, it would seem as though another beloved franchise may go through something similar, if a recent interview with Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot is to be believed. The following information comes from Chinese news outlet Gamersky, who sat down with Guillemot to discuss about present and future projects. Among the conversations they brought up was a franchise many people have been anticipating a sequel for, Splinter Cell. I would like to tell you that there is reason to be optimistic about a potential sequel, but based on what was said by Guillemot, I have to tell you I have a bad feeling about this. Among the outlets that transcribed the interview was Game Informer, and according to their article, here's the response that was provided in regards to what's going on with Splinter Cell. While in China, Guillemot spoke with outlet Gamersky and confirmed that a new Splinter Cell project is in the works. Don't expect it to be a traditional Splinter Cell game, though. There will be some new types of experiments, Guillemot answered when asked specifically about Splinter Cell, but on more different devices. We're working a little bit on the brand today to come back at one point. We can't say when because, as you know, it takes time, but each time we have to find the right experience to come back big. I don't think there's much explanation that's needed in regards to why such a statement would raise alarms. It is no secret that Splinter Cell fans and fans of the stealth genre as a whole have been clamoring for a proper new mainline entry for a proper sequel. Just to give you some perspective, the last proper Splinter Cell game that came out was all the way back in 2013. That's 6 frickin' years ago. Many will agree that the series is long overdue for a sequel, and the hope among many fans right now is that Ubisoft has been hard at work on it throughout all this time, that we'll get an announcement soon for a AAA Splinter Cell release for maybe current and potentially next-gen consoles. But what Guillemot said in this interview was that the thing fans are clamoring for is not what we should be expecting, stating that instead they're trying out new types of experiments, but on more different devices. Understandably, many are interpreting this statement as meaning one thing, that Ubisoft may have every intention to turn Splinter Cell into a mobile franchise. That's especially easy to believe given the mobile game they announced back in E3 2019. It's a game called Elite Squad, a strategy, tactics, and/or RPG game of sorts that acts as a crossover of various Ubisoft franchises like The Division, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, and Splinter Cell. The company made it abundantly clear with this game announcement that they're pretty interested in the continuation of mobile releases and in the investment of mobile titles. And, at this point, who's to say that Splinter Cell won't follow suit? They've already done that with Assassin's Creed. There are a couple mobile games from that franchise already available on various app stores. Now, to be fair, at least Assassin's Creed is still releasing mainline entries, so a lot of the core fans and video game enthusiasts don't take too much issue with Ubisoft's mobile ventures with this particular franchise. But Splinter Cell, this is a franchise that's been on ice for 6 years, and learning that Ubisoft's intention with the next Splinter Cell game may not be to go all out and release a proper new entry on dedicated consoles and PC, but rather different devices, as they put it, will understandably dishearten many fans. It would suck to learn that after all this time, after 6 years, the next Splinter Cell project we're getting is something downgraded like a mobile experience. And it would be especially insulting if this Splinter Cell mobile game turned out to be microtransactions infested, which, let's face it, is far from an impossibility. In fact, I would say it would be a downright miracle if a major game publisher like Ubisoft didn't exploit mobile for monetization purposes. Now, if all of this is giving you a sense of deja vu, that may be because we have seen beloved franchises fall like this before. EA, for example, is among the biggest culprits on this front, with the announcement of Command & Conquer Rivals for mobile being Exhibit A. Command & Conquer is also a franchise that's been on ice for a while, with the last game before Rivals, Tiberium Alliances, having released back in 2012. And that was a free-to-play MMO release that I don't think many people really count as a proper entry. I hear it's pretty bad, actually. And then before that was Command & Conquer 4 Tiberian Twilight from back in 2010, and that game wasn't really all that well received by fans either compared to previous entries. So suffice to say that it's been a very long time since Command & Conquer has seen a new, proper, well-received release. And what does EA do during E3 2018? They announce a mobile game that no fan of the series ever asked for. A similar treatment was given to Dungeon Keeper, once a beloved PC classic that was turned into this prime example of what a predatory mobile game looks like, with its progression-hampering timers that strong-arm players into spending money. The fear now is that Ubisoft may go this route, take this franchise that the company has seemingly put on ice and deemed a lost cause in terms of high monetization, and then resurrect it in an unrecognizable, neutered, more monetizable form. We have seen this pattern happen so many times now that I think it's only natural at this point that when Guillemot says something like this, the immediate fear is that the Splinter Cell we know and love may be no more, that it'll follow the same path as Command & Conquer and Dungeon Keeper and all these other IPs that have seen a similar treatment. Now, another noteworthy possibility is that Guillemot may not actually be talking about a mobile game, but rather a VR project. Back in July 2019, there was this report by news outlet The Information, which claimed that Facebook is trying to bolster their VR business. And one way they're doing that is by partnering with bigger game companies to have their popular game franchises brought over to their Oculus platform. Among those who they've talked to is Ubisoft, and apparently deals are in place to bring both Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed to Oculus VR. So when Guillemot talks about bringing Splinter Cell to different devices, another possibility is certainly that this is what he's referring to, a VR game. Now, I will admit that Splinter Cell for VR could be kind of interesting if done right. At the very least, this would certainly be a more potentially interesting venture than a Splinter Cell mobile game, but the fact remains that fans haven't seen a new mainline Splinter Cell entry in 6 years, and announcing a mobile game or even a VR game at this juncture could prove to be contentious. After all, Splinter Cell is known amongst fans for being a AAA project, for being a high-quality, high-budget stealth action game series, which is why if they were to announce a proper new AAA Splinter Cell game on top of a VR side project or a mobile side project, then fans and enthusiasts might be more willing to overlook these other extraneous ventures. That's in large part why Elder Scrolls Blades announcement didn't get so much backlash. In the same E3 press conference that the mobile game was announced, Bethesda also officially teased Elder Scrolls 6, so that gave core fans a sense of comfort and something to look forward to. Then again, we did think Elder Scrolls Blades would be, as Todd Howard put it on stage, a pure Elder Scrolls game in a mobile form factor. And at the time, we did think that this Elder Scrolls mobile game looked like it might have some potential, in large part due to misleading marketing, though we know now how all of that really turned out. But that's another story. But contrasting Elder Scrolls Blades announcement was Diablo Immortal, which was poorly received because Blizzard made a mobile Diablo outing the centerpiece of their fan celebration BlizzCon event. And as you know, Diablo isn't known for being a mobile experience. Diablo is known for being a PC/console-based, hardcore, role-playing dungeon crawler experience. See, in this case, a small tease of, say, Diablo 4, a logo, anything, would have been more than enough to appease fans, but by giving off the perception that they care more about their mobile ventures, fans became agitated, because that's not what Blizzard is known for. So the point I'm trying to make is that if they intend to announce Splinter Cell side projects that don't fall in line with what fans usually associate with when they think of Splinter Cell, then they better have a core Splinter Cell project cooking and ready to announce as well, because that's the only way core fans will feel safe knowing that there's at least something for them to look forward to, unlike Dungeon Keeper fans and Command & Conquer fans who have no choice but to resign to the idea that these two classic franchises will never return to their full glory because EA has bastardized them into mobile money-making machines. If this doesn't turn out to be the case, though, if it turns out that Ubisoft is solely working on a mobile and/or a VR outing for Splinter Cell and have given up entirely on high-budget Splinter Cell releases, if a mobile and/or VR Splinter Cell announcement is all we have to look forward to, man, I can guarantee you there will be audible protest, and it's going to be dark times for series fans as well as stealth genre fans. With Metal Gear gone following Kojima's departure from Konami, the video game landscape is in dire need for a proper high-budget, modern stealth action game, and many are hoping that Splinter Cell can fill that void in the not-so-distant future. But based on what Guillemot said here, and given how long it's been since we last heard about a mainline Splinter Cell entry, almost as if Ubisoft is ready to give up on high-budget entries for the series, I can't say that I'm feeling particularly optimistic right now. I can't help but think that Splinter Cell will be relegated to mobile and/or VR, that Ubisoft is downgrading the series essentially, like with Command & Conquer and Dungeon Keeper, to make cheaper and easier products because it's easier to make money that way. This goes doubly true when you consider the fact that when Splinter Cell Blacklist launched way back in 2013, sales figures for that game were lower than expected, and we've seen what's happened to less mainstream and less popular franchises when a high-budget release doesn't please investors. Publishers will cut them loose and repurpose them, as well as focus on more popular and more monetizable IPs, because that's ultimately easier than trying again with a new entry and really adding some fresh ideas to a series to liven it up and to really attract people's attention while retaining core and recognizable elements that the series is known for. Now, with all that said, it is important to keep in mind that nothing is confirmed right now, but given patterns we have seen in the past, I don't think it's crazy to be concerned about words that Guillemot spoke here about Splinter Cell, about what this all means for the future of the franchise. Fingers crossed that Ubisoft in the long run doesn't pull an EA with Splinter Cell, that there is more to the franchise's future than what Guillemot seems to be insinuating in this interview, because fans have been waiting too damn long for a proper return of Sam Fisher. These are one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on what Guillemot said in this interview in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. To be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.